Welcome back to the Wizard's Boat, and yes, we did get this thing in the water. We are at Grand Lake. Let's talk about some of the things I found really happy about and some of the things I was not so happy about. Let's get started. So we got the boat to Grand Lake in Oklahoma. We've rented a slip here. And really beautiful scenery. You can see behind me, we found us a cove with hardly anybody here. We've been anchored here for a while, did some swimming and fishing and just enjoying the boat, the yacht, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to go over a few things that I've found out about the boat that are really great, and some of the things I've had to change already even while we're on the water. The first thing we'll start with is my GPS. So as you remember, I have the old iPad 3G because it's an older iPad that has the GPS chip built in. I don't even need the 3G. I don't care about the 3G. It's cheap. It cost me like 40 bucks on eBay. And I downloaded an app called Atlas. It was 5 bucks, wasn't very expensive, and it works very well. You can see the little blue dot, that's where we're at. I've got it set up to where it doesn't show all the land features and things. I don't care about that. I just want the lake and where I'm at. And it's been working very well. Once you get moving, there's a red line that shows the direction you're traveling. It shows all the depths of different places. Different places we've gone. It's worked very well. We haven't gotten lost. So I'm very, very pleased with this. It doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need to be $3 or $4 grand for the system. I just need to know where am I at and how do I get back to where I want to go. That's all I care about. One thing I'm also happy about is the Hawkeye depth finder that I installed. I glued it to the hull as the instructions said, and I was kind of thinking, I hope this works. I don't even see how that would work, but it does. And let me show you guys. I'll turn it on. Give it a few seconds to get a reading. And we're in roughly 21 feet of water. Now you don't want to anchor in 80 feet of water. You probably could if you have enough rope, but we have about 40 feet, 30 feet of rope, something like that. So I made sure to find a nice cove that's about 20 feet deep so you can still swim and also put down the anchor, and it's been holding us steady for quite a while now. The boat does move around with the wind, but it's staying put pretty much, so we're enjoying the cove here. There are a few people off in the distance there. They showed up here a little while ago, but they're pretty quiet. They're not bothering us. We've got this whole section to ourselves. You guys saw in a previous video I installed a 30-gallon tank in addition to the 12-gallon tank that was already here because the main tank has holes in it. The fix for that is to cut the entire floor out of here and then cut the stringers and cut everything out, pull the tank out, and you'll have to re-fiberglass everything. This boat's not worth that, guys. It would probably cost $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 or more to do that, and it's just totally not worth it. So I've got a 30-gallon tank and a 12-gallon tank, and they both work very well. I'll turn on the key. This is my 12-gallon tank, and over here is the 30-gallon tank. We've already used a little over a quarter of a tank. Going across the lake, it's burning about 10 gallons per hour, which is about what these are rated for. 10 to 12 is usually what you can expect out of these. We've not been going super fast. Mrs. Wizard doesn't want to fly across the lake. That's not what she's into, and kind of really I'm not into that either, so we get up on plane, and maybe a little faster than that, and that's as fast as we go, and that's all we really care about. Thinking about that, when we first pulled out of the slip to go out on to the lake, it was a very scary ride. When we first got this thing in the water, take off to go across the lake, all the trim tabs, all the settings, the outdrive trim were all set to, I don't know if it's previous settings, but they were all settings that were all wrong. And this thing was wandering, the nose was wandering really bad. I'd go this way, and then go that way, and then go that way, and it was actually very scary. Mrs. Wizard was like, is something wrong with the boat?
So, it was actually pretty scary. The first time we were out in the water, it was kind of like you were roller skating this way, that way, this way. It was really pretty scary, but he got it figured out. The trims, once he got those worked out, it was our first maiden voyage, and we would have taken you along with us, but we were making sure we could actually drive the boat and not film it and drown. So, sorry we didn't take you with us.
It ended up being nothing wrong with the boat. It's just that I had to get my trim tab set just right. I also had to get the outdrive trim just right. And then it got a lot better. Also, I'm learning how to navigate one of these boats is to make small movements and give it a few seconds to take. You don't just start yanking it all the way this way and all the way that way. That was a learning curve for me. But one thing, I emailed a buddy that has boats, and he said, does this boat have a hydrofoil or what's called a whale tail on it? Like one of these? I said, yes, it does. He said, Car Wizard, take that thing off and throw it in the trash. It's garbage. I was like, what? Well, why did they put it on here? He goes, it does give a little bit more lift, and you can plane at a lower speed, but it makes the speed so sensitive that slight movements makes it jerk this way and jerk that way. He said on short little boats like this, it's just not a good idea to have a hydrofoil. So I've taken this thing off, and here in a little while we're going to go drive around the lake some more, and I'm going to see if there's an improvement there. One thing I don't like that I really found that really perturbs me, it has the kicker motor or the auxiliary small engine on the side, and I imagine it probably works great for fishing or whatnot, but it causes the boat to list to the left side. Just sitting in the water, it leans a little bit, and I thought, well, what's wrong here? What is something wrong with the boat? And I found out it's actually that little kicker motor. It's 150 pounds on that side constantly, causing the boat to lean. And when I'm on plane, I have to trim accordingly just to compensate for the weight of that motor. So very likely, I'm going to be taking it off. The second reason I'm going to be taking it off is there was a linkage that connected the outdrive to the kicker motor, so that when you steer the steering wheel, it would also move the kicker motor in unison. But I didn't want the kicker motor down in the water causing drag while I'm going on plane across the lake. So I had the kicker motor up in the air, but the outdrive was down. So it was like this. And there was a couple times when I was steering that it got so tight, I was like, what is wrong here? It wouldn't steer. It almost scared me. And we were back at the marina last night, and I just was turning the wheel with the engine off, and I watched it actually binding. And I said, aha, that's the problem. That garbage is coming off right now. I went down on the swim platform and I unhooked these things immediately. I'm not going to have something like that cause us to wreck out on the lake for the benefit of what? I don't know. So I unhooked that linkage, and that allowed me to put the kicker motor even higher up out of the water to where it can't flop back and forth. It's kind of resting. And the steering is so much easier now. The wandering has gotten way less. Since I get the trim tabs all set up, it's very, very steerable now. It's much more serene. Even Mrs. Wizard commented this morning. She said, wow, this is much, much better. This is the way it's supposed to be. So we're getting there. We're figuring things out. There's a lot of things I have to learn, and there's a lot of things I'm going to have to change. Just like the whale tail. Hopefully that solves a lot of other things for me, or makes it better. A lot of people have said that they put these whale tails on and they took them right back off. So we'll see how that does. I'll let you guys know in a future video.
So Legions, here we are in the inside, and we've spent one night in here, and it was pretty good. Got used to the constant sway and motion. Daughter's out there on the deck, getting a little bit of sun. But the table went down last night and folded down, made a lovely bed there. The beds are pretty comfortable, shockingly. We did put some memory foam on it, which you saw in a previous video, and that actually makes it a lot more comfortable. It was kind of chilly this weekend, so we actually didn't even get to use the air conditioning that the Wizard put in, but we're going to get there eventually. It's going to get hot. We were happy. We got some sun this weekend, got a little rosy in a few spots. The daughter got extra toasty, but it was so nice having the sun, because this has been a spring in this, we're in Oklahoma now, even in Kansas. It's been a kind of a cloudy, cool spring, so it's nice to have the sun out, and we really enjoyed the nice weather. The kitchenette area worked well. We've already used the microwave and the little coffee pot, and even though the coffee pot is awfully slow to make coffee, it was quite welcome because it was kind of chilly last night. Got down to about 40. We did have a heater that if we needed it, we could have plugged in, but we didn't. As we look over here, you can see the curtain has been installed to hide the amp that is behind there, and so that just covers up a whole lot of space and adds a little splash of color to that white wall. Otherwise, this is a pretty white environment. Got a non-skid pad here on the table, so you can set down maybe your phone, use other items on there. Maybe not when we're going across the water, but as we're just sitting here, it won't go sliding around. You can plug in your phone, and on the side are other additional charge ports as well. And it was great earlier. I was listening to some tunes. I could control them on my watch and choose the volume, change the music, change the song. It was really nice not having to get up and come down here with, since it was Bluetooth connected. It has been interesting trying to keep everything in place. Now, we have gone from having our vintage classic camper, which I'm used to having things bounce around, and so figuring out, okay, we got to make sure we have things tucked away. Obviously, we don't bring eggs on the trip with us. We're not crazy. And to make sure things are tucked nicely in spots that they're not going to fall over and make a mess. And we've done a pretty good job with that. This trip, we took PBJs with us. We just packed some peanut butter, some jelly, because we weren't so sure how that cooler was going to work. It had good reviews on Amazon, but we weren't so sure if it was actually going to live up to what the actual reviews were. It's done really well. It's given us a lot of cool drinks. We just put non-perishable items in there. So next time, I feel confident, we can bring more culinary delights than the old peanut butter and jelly.
You saw in the previous video, I installed solar panels on top of the roof, up here, and there's two 100-watt solar panels, and I was kind of curious if that was going to do very much or help us very much, and it does wonders. I'm on the main 8D battery right now. We're listening to the radio, we're powering our cooler, keeping our food cold and drinks cold, and lights and things of that nature, my GPS. And on the charge controller for those, it's currently putting out 7.8, almost 8 amps constantly with the sunshine we have today. It can go up to 11, 12 amps maximum, but 8 amps, that's like an 8 amp charger running all the time. It's putting out 14.4 volts constantly. So the batteries are staying nice and full even while we're using all these accessories and things. So I don't have to worry so much about running the batteries down and going, uh-oh, what do we do now? Well, I guess we could have a generator, but for the small amount of power draw that we have, the solar panels are able to keep up with it just fine. So I'm really happy that all those things are working. I wasn't too happy about the things I mentioned with the outdrive and the steering and things of that nature, but we've made great improvements and it's coming along very nicely. We're having a very relaxing day here at Grand Lake. It's very peaceful, very serene, and we've been working really hard for the past several weekends in a row, over and over and over, and now we get to relax and take it easy. In the clip that you saw where I backed the boat into the water, I was so happy that there were no leaks. I looked in the bilges and everything, and it's nice and dry, so I'm very, very happy about that. So we're going to continue on and have a good time here at the lake and enjoy the nice, peaceful scenery around here. If you're curious what kind of tools we use in my shop, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. All our tools are for sale there. We get a small cut, and we appreciate it. And make sure you hit the subscribe button because you want to keep up with the Ferrari 308 updates. There's going to be some more coming, guys. Thanks for watching.